Well, we weren't friends to start with, so he can.
Do you want me to explain?
You can explain, because you probably explain and remember better than me anyway.
So Matt and I first met. I used to run a website called Collective, and before that I used to write for movie websites and do movie reviews and articles and things for fun. And then I decided that I wanted to set up an art-related website because that was what I enjoyed. Matt lived close by, so he was kind enough to meet for a beer, and we had a chat and some interviews. And after that, we just got chatting a little bit more. We became friends with our mutual partners.
You forgot the initial meeting. I was at Thought Bubble.
Oh yes.
And you and your now wife walked up, and I thought, oh, here's one. And they turned out to be really nice and normal, and you bought a Batman poster.
I did.
And then that's the first contact, and then you messaged me after that.
So then we met, had a beer, we found out that our mutual interests were like Batman and 2000 AD and things. Matt mentioned that he wanted to work on more licenses. Mm-hmm. I mentioned that I had this idea to set up a UK poster company where we focused on bits and bobs like that. So we kind of, just all developed from there, really.
We had a lot of gin, didn't we, in it?
A lot of gin.
Came together.
Yeah, a lot of whiskey, booze, beer, the lot, and it all just came together. 5 years later, here we are.
I do a lot of licensed posters, obviously, but there's obviously licenses that we don't have or I can't do. So then I said to James, we should try to do that. I want to do Judge Dredd, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he thought that was a good idea, and we started it, and then it's just gone from there. The initial idea was to keep it like British stuff. So we were doing the 2000 AD stuff, Wallace and Gromit and things like that. But it's also, we do all sorts of posters and stuff now. So it's sort of just an English poster company, really.
Purpose of Vice Press was to work on licenses we liked, we enjoyed, artists that we liked, and just to get that marriage of great licenses with great artists, work on stuff that we found cool when we were younger and as adults, and then just get the artists to work with that, and then to work with heroes like Drew Struzan and bits and bobs along those lines. That's just the icing on the cake, really, when you get to do bits and bobs like that. So we just do whatever we find is cool and fun. If it's not a cool or fun idea, we don't do something for the sake of it.
It's quite organic, really.
Yeah, we don't.
We'd go about it.
There's no master plan. The 2000 AD stuff, like I've said, I grew up on that as a kid. My dad used to read the comics and pass them down for me to read at probably an age where it was grossly inappropriate. But then working on stuff like Batman 89, I wanted Matt to do a Batman 89 poster for ages. So to be able to kind of realise that, and then we've got a new license this year that is just a childhood dream for me as well.
It's like his favourite thing ever, so he's excited.
Yeah, so that should be fun. But just getting to work on cool, fun stuff, really.
I got to do the John Carpenter posters, and then for the 4K re-releases and all the cinema posters and the box art and everything, and that came direct with Studio Canal with just me on my freelance thing, but it came because of the relationship that we already had with Vice Press. Yeah. So it's good that there's like feedback that way as well.
It's having that relationship between Vice Press and you as an artist works really well, because there's organic crossovers. People contact Matt and it's an opportunity to work with Vice Press and vice versa. So it's great that there's both Vice Press that sits here and there's Matt as an artist that sits parallel to that, because they can both work off of each other.
Lots of times at Thought Bubble, people come up and they'll go, oh, you did that, because I might have something with me that I did before or whatever, and then so it's definitely crucial, I'd say, to my career at Thought Bubble, more so than any other convention, because it was the first convention I ever did as well. So huge.
Yeah, definitely. Thought Bubble's got this quite interesting position within the convention market where it is a creator-owned thing. Everybody there is generally the creator of whatever they're doing. So for Matt, like as an artist, it's great because he gets to interact with people and they see who that is. And then for us as as Vice Press, people get to come and meet us and understand we are a British company and have a chat and have a conversation. And it's also good to get feedback as well. And I think one of the things that builds fans, whether it's an artist or a company, is that interaction and that engagement. We like to be seen as approachable. And
sort of.
Or at least appear approachable, and have those chats.
I'm known for not smiling. That's like the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we do plan to do more conventions, but Thought Bubble will always be the one that's kind of the catalyst for everything. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's more of a people person than me.
Urban Sprawl by Raid 71.
Oh, yeah.
So
that was Just Dread one, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was our very first poster. We had a regular and a variant. The regular was £40, the variant was £50, and I think those editions sold out. Pretty much within the hour,
sold it,
which kind of gave us a bit of a false expectation that everything we do now is going to sell
and then
out.
We did quite a few that didn't.
So that was great, and that Chris is still a really good friend of ours, Chris Raid 71, and he works with us quite regularly, and he enjoys it because we give him a little bit of creative freedom as well. The first film poster we did was Attack the Block by Matt Taylor.
Yeah, that went down really well and sold out.
It did. That was our very first Thought Bubble release. That one.
Yeah.
And again, that was because it was a film we liked, and we thought it hadn't really got much attention, and we liked Matt's work, and it just came together. It was a really fun poster, that one.
I like the idea of anybody with, because they cost 40 quid, obviously, that much money to be able to buy it and put it on their wall. I want somebody that loves the thing I've done, not so much a collector. I know that that's a part of it, and I'm not going to be upset about it, but I've always liked the idea of just selling stuff at the original price.
It goes back to that Thought Bubble thing. It's being accessible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your art is accessible, whether you sell it, whether Grey Matter Art, Bottleneck, Vice Press sell it, it's an accessible price.
Yeah.
And I think collectors respect that.
Don't know.
Hopefully.
I just do what I want.
Either that or they buy it and then put it on eBay for 500 quid.
Well, that does happen, yeah, but I'm not upset about it.
No.
Well, I really like Bob Peak posters. Bob Peak did the Star Trek posters, apart from Star Trek 6, which was done by John Alvin in Bob Peak style. And because I loved Star Trek as a kid, they had a big influence on me, the way he uses colour and the way he sort of draws the characters and stuff. So Bob Peak stuff is huge. And then obviously there's like the usuals, Drew Struzan and stuff. And John Alvin was really influential on me because he did a lot more landscapes. John Alvin was more sort of less floating heads, less people, and more interesting environments, like his Arachnophobia poster. It's just the spider in front on front of the moon, and then the town, and it just tells more of a story, I think. So those have always influenced me. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for teaser posters. So when you look at the Batman teaser poster for Batman 1989 with the logo, and Jurassic Park, which is just the logo, and Ghostbusters, which is just the logo, I think all of those are really effective. I mean,
it's the thing is, people think, oh, that's just a logo, but it's just really, like, those three you've just mentioned are such good graphic design.
Yeah.
Like the Ghostbusters, it tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
No ghosts.
Exactly.
It's brilliant.
It's just really cool.
And then they make it look so simple, but it's not. Whoever came up with that's genius.
Yeah. And then it's a really cheesy one, but I'm still a sucker for the Drew Struzan and Mallrats poster. That was the first. Okay. When I got my first house, I bought that poster, just a cheap GBI poster, and that was up in our flat wall for a few years. I think a lot of people get their knickers in a twist about screen print or G-Clay, or however you want to pronounce it. I don't know. I think
so many people have said it different ways to me. I don't know the right way.
So I think it's. I mean, you had quite an articulate answer earlier that I'll let you go through yourself because I won't do it justice. But for me, it's about how can we best represent what the artist has put forward. There are limitations with screen prints that you don't have with G-Clay, but then we're experimenting with other printing methods like lithograph.
So you used lithograph. I said lithograph.
Yeah.
What do you sound right?
Potato.
With weird, like old Greek words and stuff.
Yeah, but you had a good. You explained to me.
With screen prints, what I like about doing screen print is the limitations. So if you know up front that it's going to be a screen print, you've got to think about your colours, your paper, what different kinds of inks, or you can use glow in the dark, and it drives me to get more creative with the artwork. Than whereas if it's just digital. Which is what G-Clay is. It's just essentially a digital print. You can just go crazy, paint as many colours as you want, which is good for some things. If somebody's like a painter, you can recreate their painting better with a G-Clay than a screen print. So I tend to most often do screen prints because I like the end result.
Yeah.
And the fact that it makes limitations are always good, whether it's time limitations, so a deadline I think is always really good. and art limitations, because otherwise you would never finish, and it wouldn't be as good. Working for a studio, you always think, oh, the limitations of who you can and can't use, the faces. You think that they'd be bad, but in some ways they're good, because it makes you think more about what you're actually doing. Well, when I first started in around about 2010, 2011, that's what it was online. Alternative movie posters was pretty much just the Soul Bass type stuff, and people were taking a film and doing like a Soul Bass style poster for it, or an Ollie Moss style poster for that film. And then it's evolved over time. So I did that. I did really minimalist stuff, because also I didn't really know what I was doing so much. So it's easier to do in the computer, and you're striking, and then you just evolve over time and you try different things. And I think if you just did the same thing forever and stuck with it, like that same style, people would get bored of you and walk off. So that's why I just don't think about what I do in terms of style, unless I can't think of anything, and then I'll just do a Dutch angle. I think of it more of like doing what's right for that particular film, and then it speaks to the people on that level instead of just the artwork, I think.
I think alternative movie posters did start off in that place where it was that, oh, that's cool, that's a thing that is also another thing.
Yeah, where it'd be a shadow, but it would be like somebody's head, or something.
And there are people that still do that great, like Noma Bar and Ollie Moss, kind of on that Soul Bass style. And I think there are people who have evolved that, such as your Anthony Petrie with his chart stuff. But then it's so much more expansive now in terms of what an alternative movie poster is.
A couple of things that I've not done that I've got at the moment is I want to do a Batman comic book cover. I think that would be really cool. And then I've done key art, which is like the main art for a film release. I did it for the John Carpenter re-releases, but obviously that was a re-release. I'd love to do the key art poster that's in every single cinema in the world for a film. Don't really care what film, as long as it's a good film. That's my two things that I personally would like to do. And then vice press wise, what do you reckon?
I would love to do Ghostbusters at some point.
Ghostbusters, that would be cool.
That would be cool to do Ghostbusters at some point. That's the kind of holy grail for me.
It's like his favourite thing. In New York Comic Con, we were going around the whole place trying to find an Ecto-1.
Real Ghostbusters.
A specific Ecto-1, like an old one. And his little face when we found it.
Oh, the 1986, fully boxed and sealed.
He loves
Real
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters Ecto-1.
The whole thing about Ghostbusters. I am the same with Transformers.
We're quite lucky. Like the 2000 AD thing was a big thing, and that was the first thing we
really
did.
Big thing.
Cornetto trilogy, which we're working through at the moment. But yeah, there's always something cool that comes along.